Hail and kill, caller. You're on the air.
Greetings and salutations.
Hello,
gentlemen.
Mr. Tate. How are you, sir?
I am doing well.
Well, let me bring you in officially.
Greetings and salutations, everyone. This is Geoff Tate.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome a man of eloquence, sagacity, wit, and exceptional breeding.
I am shedding my metal cloak. These days, I prefer a friendly game of backgammon.
The most refined and cultured songwriter and wine connoisseur of the modern era.
I am obsessed with sex. I'm paddling ham right now. I am wearing a smoking jacket. Nothing boorish comes from a man in a smoking jacket.
The voice of Geoff Tate's Queensryche?
Full frontal nudity.
Mr. Geoff Tate.
Jeff with a G. I play the saxophone.
Well, that's probably going to be one of the very few last times we're going to be able to play that bumper in its entirety, Mr. Tate. I guess you're gearing up for your farewell shows under the Queensryche banner?
Yeah, as a matter of fact, I am. I'm gearing up for a whole new chapter in my life. I'm out with the old, in with the bold, all that sort of thing. Farewell shows are just the beginning. May I be frank with you, fellows?
Absolutely.
In fact, I simply can't wait to wash my hands of all this muck and detritus.
Well, that's a good word, detritus.
Detritus, wow.
My pride was bruised when all the unpleasantness went down. My pride was hurt. My ego was suffering. I felt I needed to save face and to make a stink, as it were. Not in the Red Beach lexicon, but figuratively. I wanted to reclaim what was mine, to show that the world that Geoff Tate was no pushover. So I felt the need to drag the thing out into the court case, put my wife through unimaginable stress, assisting with the negotiations, as you well know. But now I wonder what all the fuss was about. The ending was so anticlimactic. It would be about Chris sticking his dick in Rosie O'Donnell.
Right.
No climax.
Well, Chris apparently has no problem with, as we talked with our good friend Scottish Tom, he has no problem with, being a star fucker, no matter, the width or breadth or anything regarding the person, just as long as it was a star. That's all Chris was concerned with.
That's it.
Well, I heard the discussion, but while listening to it, we've spoken about this before. If you're going to rob the grave, as it were, you may as well do it with someone who can actually teach you something. Now, I'd mentioned this lady before. She's a fine woman. I'm speaking of the sex therapist Betty Dodson.
Right? You did bring her up before.
She is in her 80s, and she is married to a man who is not quite 40.
Wow.
Now, there's someone who knows how to keep a younger man satisfied.
Wow, no kidding.
Now, that is something I could get behind and underneath and on top of and all that sort of thing. Now,
she must give a hell of a handy.
Absolutely. Once she takes those dentures out, ever had a gum job?
Well, I can't say personally that I've ever experienced that, but I've heard about it.
Yeah.
What about you, Christopher?
I have not had that yet, Jeff.
Well, the company you keep, I'm sure there's plenty of women that are in your circle of friends and acquaintances that have prematurely lost all their teeth due to prolonged drug use and that sort of thing.
What are you trying to say about Chris and his associates there, Jeff? What are you intimating there?
I'm hearing Christopher's stories, as embellished as they may be, it makes it seem as though he does not perhaps keep the best company. I'm just thinking about the prevalent drug use and poor hygiene of the Rust Belt.
So basically, financial wherewithal has direct impact on hygiene and personal, upkeep.
Yes, that's what I was thinking of. And
Really?
I was,
Wow.
And the heroin epidemic that is supposedly gripping the nation's midsection and rural areas. Although, of course, I know nothing of this. As insulated as I am from that sort of thing.
Well, I will say there is a lot of heroin problems very close to me, actually.
Well,
there's a lot of that.
Do you occasionally find teeth lying on the floor?
I didn't know heroin use or addiction was associated with the loss of dental work. I thought that was more associated with crack use or crack addiction.
Or methamphetamine or any sort of hard drug eventually leads to the loss of teeth, particularly if the heroin is smoked. In the archaic way.
Is that true, Chris?
Sitting in an opium den, sparking the owl, as it were.
How would I know?
I don't know. Well, according to Jeff, you are immersed in that lifestyle, or at least are associated with people who have experience with that.
Well, Jeff, which one of my acquaintances are you assuming is toothless?
I don't rightly know, but for your sake, I'm hoping it's, a female that you can, maybe get a little some of that. Get some gum action.
Oh, man.
Is there monetary remuneration required for this, Jeff?
Well, that is between himself and the lady, so to speak. But, there's an old saying, gum makes you come. You do well to keep that in mind. But, now that we have talked about that, maybe we talk about something interesting, something of lasting value, something such as, I heard your discussion about the production of musical recordings and that sort of thing.
Right. As you're well versed in great production with great CD releases.
Exactly. I was wondering if you might like to hear it from a professional rather than these calls from the peanut gallery, as they were.
I would. I definitely would, Jeff.
All right, then. Now, do you have no appreciation for the impromptu, the spur of the moment, the seat of the pants style of production that I would claim that Frequency Unknown is an excellent example of?
And a fine-sounding record, though, Jeff.
Absolutely. Now, you can set up, a lot of these crystal clear, spotless sounding recordings. They spend weeks simply getting a good hi-hat sound. Is that really important? I don't think so. I'd like to just set up the instruments and fly by the seat of the pants on the wings of inspiration and let the creative juices flow where they may and get it all on tape. It's what you self-styled critics likes to call organic.
Yeah, but Jeff, you're such a technical pro, though. That's the difference. Your professionalism is so much greater than everybody else's that you capture it in a near perfect quality.
Yes, and I did that without fussing, without being pedantic, without being a slave driver in the studio. I did it letting the musicians do what they do, setting up the microphones, not being overly anal retentive about whether the microphone was 2 inches from the drum or 2.5 inches from the drum, or whether it was a cardioid or a diaphragm microphone, all that sort of silliness. Good music shines through poor production. It shines through. You don't need all that razzmatazz, as it were. You don't need all these studio effects. Although I am greatly fond of what you call the fucky effect, and I think I will be using it.
So you're going to use the bullhorn effect on your next recording, Jeff?
The bullhorn, the fucky effect, it has an immediacy to it. It has an urgency that, singing into a regular microphone with chorus and delay and echo and all these little tricks to hide the natural beauty of the voice, all the crooks, all the nooks and crannies of my ruggedly handsome voice, if I may say so myself. We don't need that. The bullhorn, it just has such a sense of, here I am, I'm singing through a bullhorn because I want you to hear me so much. I've got this bullhorn, I'm waking the neighbors, as it were.
Well, you've used the fucky effect on your solo records, though, haven't you, Geoff? Yes,
I have, and that's the way I feel about it. It's something that I'm greatly fond of. It's just such a rush to hold the bullhorn in my hand. It's a completely different effect besides the sterile studio environment.
Well, Geoff, one of the things Neeley and I have been talking about is now that you're getting ready to break away from this childish metal band Queensryche and go off and just do Geoff Tate solo material, will the music now take a much more artsy direction, kind of following in the footsteps of, I would say, your first solo record more than the second one?
Actually, I'm certainly glad you asked about that because, I experimented with samba rhythms and my saxophone playing, of course. That'll always be a part of my repertoire. But I am feeling like going in a more world music direction.
Right. That sounds fantastic.
There is so much more to music than guitars and drums and bass and all this sort of Anglo-American rock music.
Sure. So what are you looking at, like a samba or music like that?
In fact, once the farewell tour is blessedly over and I can stop playing these silly songs, my family and I, the ladies and I, are going to be relocating for a brief time, a few months, possibly a year. We're going to relocate to the island of Fiji.
Okay.
And
why Fiji?
To study the native Polynesian music. I'm greatly fond of Pacific Islander music, the Polynesian and the Melanesian and Micronesian music. There's so much there, and I believe I've already shared my love of the ukulele.
Right, you have. You've played it right here on the show.
Yes, absolutely. But unfortunately, at the time, I had a couple too many glasses of Insania wine, so I was not perhaps at my best when plucking on the uke. I don't know if you noticed that or not.
We might have noticed a little bit, but we were satisfied with it, Geoff. It was still a quality performance compared to everything else.
It was just after the new year. I was having fun. I was feeling happy. I was letting it all hang out. But I have a great fascination with the rhythmic sensibility of the indigenous cultures that dwell on these little islands. You go there, and they have such amazing rhythms. And I've already been practicing with the girls. We've got a little routine worked out. If you might like to, sample it a bit, would you?
Absolutely. I would consider this a CMS exclusive.
Right.
Oh, this is an exclusive first-time play.
Right. Would you like me to play that bumper for you, Geoff?
If you have it handy.
Oh,
while I round up the girls.
All right.
Susan, Miranda.
Come on, Neeley, step it up.
I'm stepping it up, sir. We're going to play the exclusive first-time play.
This is sounding awfully like Dirt Talk.
This is an exclusive first-time play.
Tick-tock, Neeley, tick-tock.
The Classic Metal Show.
All right, go ahead, Geoff.
All right, well, I have with me here is my lovely wife, Susan. Say hello, Susan.
Hi, Wendell.
Hello, Susan. How are you?
I'm doing well, and I just want you to know that I'm wearing a grass skirt right now, and I've got big coconut shells over my tits.
Very native of you, Susan.
Can you hear them?
I do. They're very hard. Just like my cock.
Yes, they are. And Well, I got the whole thing worked out here. And,
All right now. Also is my lovely daughter, Miranda. Say hello, Miranda.
Hi, Miranda.
All right. You got the whole clan there, Jeff.
All right, yes. What I'm going to do is I have the native instruments that are called maracas. Perhaps you've heard of them.
Yes.
No, God wouldn't have given them to you if He didn't want you to shake them.
Right. Wow.
So I have these maracas here, and I'm going to play a little tune and possibly sing a famous native song that goes back hundreds of years. It's a classic. It's something that all native islanders know. And I'm going to play this tune for you, and the girls are going to dance. So,
wow.
Unfortunately, this is not a video chat, but you can, it's theater of the mind. So Susan has already told you what she is wearing, and Miranda is similarly attired. So you'll have to use your imagination to picture this while the performance is going on. Does that sound agreeable to you fellows?
I've actually got my eyes closed trying to imagine this, Jeff.
Well, all right then. Eyes closed, fly open. Get ready for this. All right, here's my maracas. Get ready, ladies. Let's knock their socks off. Knock their socks off their cocks. My grandma and your grandma sitting by the fire. My grandma told your grandma, I'll set your ass on fire. You know this song, don't you?
Yeah, absolutely.
See that man all dressed in green. Iko on day. He's not a man, he's a loving machine. Iko on day. This is so dumb. What? What did you say, Miranda? This is so dumb. You're going to be punished for that. We have a little bit of a problem with discipline, as I'm sure you...
Apparently.
Someone of Miranda's age, she gets recalcitrant sometimes.
Sure.
Well, I'm going to attend to that, and I'm going to let you speak with Susan for a moment.
All right.
All right. Miranda, down to the basement.
Hi, Wendell.
Hi, Susan. How are you?
I'm doing well, Neeley. Very well. And I'm all hot and sweaty from dancing. And did that get your motor running?
Well, I recognize that song as it was resurrected and made popular in the movie The Hangover.
Well, that is one thing. And it's also in a movie from the late 80s whose name escapes me. A charming English girl group called the Bell Stars made it popular at that time. And some of this tune, it makes me feel alive. It makes me feel like a woman. It makes me feel sensual and alluring and desirous of male companionship. It gets my clip buzzing, as it were.
Wow. So is Jeff taking care of your needs, your womanly needs, Susan?
Well, I'm certainly glad I got to speak with you about this, Wendell, because, Jeffrey is what he is, but after so many years of marriage, I get what's come to be known as the 7-year itch, and it's been a hell of a lot longer than 7 years. And I got this itch that needs to be scratched, and, Wendell, in all our time together and all my life, I've never met anyone besides you who, seems to scratch that itch even though we've never met. The other times that we've spoken on the phone and then, exchanged intimacies, as it were, afterward, Jeffrey and I made mad, passionate hump like we hadn't done since the first days of our courtship.
Mad, passionate hump?
Did you say hump?
Yes. Wendell, I understand you have this fetish. I would like to sing a song for you if I could.
Okay, I didn't realize that you were a singer, Susan.
course, I have many talents that I'm just waiting to show you. And, there's more than singing that I can do with my mouth.
Okay.
All right, Rise, Jeffrey left his maracas here. I love it in your room at night. You're the only one that gets through to me. This is for you, Wendell. I love it in the glimmer of the candlelight. I wonder what you're gonna do to me. What did you do to me, Wendell? I'm alive when I'm with you. I'll do anything you want me to. In Neely's room. What do you think?
Well, strangely, Susan, you keep sounding a little more and more like Jeff when you hit the lower parts.
You know, as they say, when you spend so much time married together, you start to look like each other, and we start to sound like each other.
Yeah, I was going to actually go there with that, but you hit it right on the head, Susan.
Well, that's the way it is, and to be honest with you, I'm sick of looking like Jeffrey. I'm sick of sounding like Jeffrey.
You didn't shave your head, did you, Susan?
I want to be my own woman.
Right.
I want to look more like you and sound more like you.
I don't think I'd wish that on anyone, Susan.
I want to smell like you, Wendell.
Well, I've thought of having the smell of you on me, Susan, but I don't know that I wanted to smell like you. I mean, that's kind of taking it a bit too far.
Well, that's what I was referring to. I would hope that after we consummate our union, I hope you wouldn't get a shower for at least, I would hope you go off to work. Put your clothes right on over my dried pussy juice. Go ahead. I have this fantasy of you sitting at your desk at work, your coworkers all around you, you being Mr. Buttoned-Up businessman, but just sneaking a finger down your pants and sniffing it.
Wow, that's quite
remembering your Susan.
Right, it's quite a visual, Susan.
Absolutely, and hold on, here he is. Well, it's sometimes a bit of a chore being the disciplinarian around
right.
here.
Well, I hope you were able to beat the recalcitrant right out of her.
Well, she won't be mouthing off anytime soon, for at least a day or so.
Right.
She'll be speaking with a bit of a lisp.
Wow, got the fat lip going on, huh, Jeff?
What's that, Susan? All right.
Did you punch her in the mouth with that frequency unknown ring?
That is certainly possible.
Yeah, she's got that big FU stamped right in the forehead.
Something along that lines. But, speaking of this multiculturalism, the exploring of the world music and the native cultures, I come from we are a multicultural family. I am, African American, and my wife is, she has quite a bit of Eastern European in her. Did you know this?
No.
Well, I thought you might know that she has a bit of Russian, Ukrainian in her. She has that, that square-jawed, bulldogish look to her.
Okay.
That gulag determination about her.
And 5 times a week she has a little bit of African American in her, right?
5 times a week? What are you saying? She's almost an honorary negress.
Negress?
Negress.
But, also, she can be so demanding as a person out of the bedroom. She can be so, so domineering. I think she might be a little bit Jewish. I'm sure you were reading along when Portnoy's Complaint, the book that young Doghouse recommended to you.
I have it right here, Jeff. Philip Roth's Portnoy's complaint right here.
I'm sure you now you know all about the ways of the Jewish wife and mother. That's a little of what goes on in the Tate household. So, look before you leap, Wendell.
Yeah, Wendell.
Yeah, really.
That's all I can say.
Okay.
That's all I can say. Just
right.
Be careful. It's sticky sweet now and dancing for you and all that sort of thing, but it turns sour in a hurry.
Sure.
But there are benefits. There's certain definite, business and financial benefits to having someone like that on your side. But it's a trade-off on the home front, so to speak.
Sure.
Well, Geoff, you never fail to teach myself. I can't speak for Chris, but I'm assuming he gleans something from your world experience and your life experience and make us better people.
I do.
I certainly hope so. My goal is to lead by example. My goal is to educate and enlighten and lead to the path of intellectual riches. And, to share this wealth of knowledge that I have accrued over the years and the course of my travels and my experiences with the world, with the sometimes unwilling, unwashed masses, such as listen to your program.
Well, we're flattered that you even take the time out of your busy schedule to even entertain listening to us.
Well, only your program has such a forum where I might do such. And it's not like... listening to Rockline. It's not like going on in, Eddie Trunk's show. It's not like, it's, dare I say, talking metal. All they want to do is talk metal. I have no opportunity to explore my other interests with.
Have you heard shows that we didn't, Geoff? Because we've never heard them talk metal.
Well, if you've not heard of it, I'm not particularly surprised. There are. A small outfit. You might call them a Mickey Mouse operation. But it's just something that Susan set up for me. She was mad at me that week, and she set me up with these rinky-dink motherfuckers.
Rinky-dink motherfuckers.
Well, that about fits the bill.
Sure.
They got me on the line, and they talked about a silver spacecraft for 45 seconds, keeping me waiting. And then, the questions were just the barrel scrapings of banality.
Right.
And, it's nothing like your program where I have an open forum to express my views on a variety of topics the way we do, and we discuss cabbages and kings and all that sort of thing.
Right.
But on that note, I just wanted to keep you abreast of all. Abreast.
Right.
Yeah. Put 'em on the glass, as my hero, Sir Mix-a-Lot, said.
Well, I appreciate all your input, Geoff. I'm going to play this in tribute to you.
My grandma, your grandma, sitting by the fire. My grandma said to your grandma, I'm gonna set your flag on fire. Talking about henna, kawaii kawane, chicken mofino, banane, chicken mofino. Look at my king all dressed in red, kawaii kawane. But you find dollars, he'll kill you dead. Chicken mofino, talking about henna, kawaii kawane, chicken mofino, banane, chicken mofino.
I think you did a better job, though, Geoff.
I say paling.
Well, I must tell you, part of my interest in the island culture is the rhythms is just so rhythmic. Listening to that song, I pitch a tent every time I hear it.
Right. It kind of puts that excitement in the groinal area.
Absolutely. It gets the blood roaring just picturing the grass skirts and the coconuts and all that sort of thing. Well, without the coconuts.
Well, how great is that to have that right under your own roof?
Absolutely. And, the mother-daughter fantasy is, a popular, masturbation material for so many men. But I'm living the dream. So to speak.
You are, absolutely. You've got it made. You got the world by the tail, as it were, Jeff.
And I know you do mean tail.
Right.
It has its drawbacks, the disciplinary aspect, and living with someone who's such a go-getter the way Susan is. But there certainly is benefits as well. I wouldn't trade it for anything, and that's just the way I feel about it.
Well, you're a lucky man, Jeff.
That's right, upward and onward, moving along with all this, silly Queensryche nonsense. I'm ready to get done with that. I'm ready to move on to the next phase of my life. There's a world out there, and I mean to explore it.
Sure. All right, Jeff.
Well, let them go. Let the other fellows play the rib fests and Indian casinos and state fairs and chicken festivals and all that sort of nonsense.
Chicken festivals.
Whatever. Who knows? Who cares?
State fairs.
Let them play succotash days in Paducah, Kentucky.
Right.
I have a world to conquer.
That's right.
All right then, gentlemen. It's been pleasant as usual.
Well, you're always an inspiration, Jeff.
I mean to inspire.
And
always
you do.
Inspirational. Always. Well, I haven't made that slogan up yet. Next time. In the meantime, hail and kill. Fuck you, pal.